Happy Thursday evening to you. Let me grab a bottle of water. Alrighty. Well, as usual, I do not plan my live stream. I just got in and I had caught a few things today and they were on my radar. I wanted to do this quick live stream before I settle in with my wine and relax myself because it has been one of those days. I feel like my eyeballs are going to fall out. Yeah. So, first off, prayers to those in Florida. We're starting to see the aftermath of the hurricanes. I know people personally who have been impacted by this natural disaster. And, there were some areas they knew they were going to get hit. Some people were able to prepare. And then there were other areas they were like, well, it's not on our side, so we don't necessarily have to worry about it. It's not on our side. And this was the case for a trailer park mobile home community of elderly people. They didn't think that they were going to get any aftermaths of that hurricane, but unfortunately, they got hit with a lot of tornadoes. And right, I think the reporting, according to this, and I'll play some of it, about 9 people were killed in this mobile home, and majority of them were retirement age. These were elderly individuals. And it said, what's going on, my friend? I'm just talking about the hurricane and the aftermath. We got to keep these people in our prayers because there's been a lot of devastation in these areas, and people have lost their lives. People have lost their homes. And in certain areas, and this lady is going to talk about this, some people are not even insured. Like there are some areas where the insurance companies would not insure them. And so she's going to talk about this. But one thing I want to talk about for a second with this reporting, this was on CBS Morning. All right. And, respects to the animal lovers. Okay. Respects to the animal lovers. But when it comes to the preservation of life, I'm always going to be thinking about humans before animals. All right. That's just me. All right. And what I thought was very peculiar about this reporting is that this anchor had this dog who survived this horrific tornado aftermath in this community, right? And, at first, I'm thinking, that there weren't any deaths, right? We just see the dog being focused on, right? And apparently the dog had fled to safety at the neighbor's house. The neighbor, a human being who also endured that horrible tornado that just swept through their community and devastated, killed a number of their neighbors, right? He was a survivor. And yet this reporter literally focused on the dog. And it was so peculiar that even the dude, even Gail King is looking like, there's a whole human being that has survived this event. Why are we focused on the dog? I'm gonna just play some of this.
Here, along the side of the homes, you'll see that there are X marks. The X mark is actually on the front of this home, so we don't have to walk all the way to the front. But there are X marks at the home.
She got the dog in her hand the whole time.
Look at this pile of the debris right over here. Good morning, and I cannot believe I am starting this right now with some happy news. Look at this pile of the debris right over here to my left-hand side.
So the happy news is that the dog is alive. We're really happy that he survived that horrible event. But there are humans that survived. Not one human was focused on in this piece. Not one human being. I thought that was just very strange. But I want to go to what she says at the end.
Standing right and there, thankfully. because after the retirement
So she
community,
talked about the dog for a second. Whole
and near
human
breeds
being
and other
survived.
debris flying through the air across.
These are horrible pictures that they're showing, though, of this.
Of those homeowners. I don't know if Morgan's still with us.
So
Morgan,
he's
can you hear
like, he
us?
even said like the dog and those homeowners. Let's talk about the homeowners. Like, we're glad the dog is alive. That's great, but he is not the story. The surviving homeowners who have lost everything in this devastation, they're the real story. We'll get this dog replaced in another owner, and but the sad thing is the dog's owners died. They did get a little shadow and a call out. Sad thing is they died, right? But the dog survived, guys. It's kind of weird. People are freaking weird to me. They're just freaking weird to me.
A neighbor is taking veggies.
Now the neighbor's taking the dog away from her. Can we talk to the neighbor and see how he's feeling about the fact that he has his dead neighbor's dog after this tornado that hit them, that they didn't expect was going to hit them?
A lot of people, when they're watching this, they're questioning, this is a mobile home park. Why did people sit out the storm in a mobile home park? And, to their credit, the storm did hit the other coast of Florida. So they weren't as concerned as those over there. The other thing was they weren't as concerned as tornadoes. Tornadoes aren't top of mind here. And another concern for residents in this area now is insurance, because insurance companies don't often like to cover mobile homes. Wow. That one woman I described to you earlier who ran to her neighbor's house between tornadoes, she said that she got an astronomically high insurance quote that wouldn't have made sense for her. Another reason why she didn't evacuate, because they didn't have the finances. So that is what...
So people are strapped. People are strapped. A lot of people, they really just kind of, they're like, this is all we can do is just kind of stay posted and see what happens. But, the bigger thing is that a lot of these people who are devastated, they're not going to have insurance to really help them rebuild. They're going to need a lot of help from the government. So, we're going to have to backburn those migrants, right? Because we got some people who obviously are not in a position to be able to build their lives back. And the sad thing about it is this is a retiree community, right? These are elderly people who are not in the market making money anymore. They are on fixed incomes, right? And, they probably, like she said, didn't even think that something like this would hit them because they don't get tornadoes, right? So a lot of people are devastated. He said insurance is a damn scam. I feel you, Infowar. I think I made you a moderator. I made you a mod. But this is sad. This is so sad. Catch on my video earlier because Ron DeSantis was not playing with Kamala. He like, broad, I will never give you political cookies on this hurricane. He is not with it. Let me go back to that video I posted earlier because Ron DeSantis was not having it. He was like, you will not politicize this. You couldn't even handle our borders, so leave our hurricanes alone. Leave our hurricanes alone, Kamala. We don't need you. Ron was like, I've been talking to Biden. He was like, I've been talking to Biden. I've been talking to FEMA. I've been talking to all the players I need to talk to. I'm not about to talk to Kamala Harris so she can get political cookies, so she can get her brownie points. And he was just like, I'm talking to the people that I need to talk to. He was so irritated. Let me go to this video of Ron DeSantis because he was not having it. He was just like, you may. So Kamala. So let me start with Kamala first. This is what Kamala Harris said about Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, and this is just fair usage.
Reaching out to
no, let me go back to Kamala first. And this is my earlier video. Catch it. There's been a lot of Ron DeSantis telling Kamala Harris, don't play with DeSantis, and this is just fair usage.
Reaching out to.
Okay, now this is them asking. I'm not trying to go look at the video, you guys, because I'm not about to go through my whole video again. So Kamala, Kamala Harris is trying to politicize it, saying that, hey, DeSantis is being irresponsible. He's not answering my calls. And Ron DeSantis is like, you're not even the freaking president right now. All right. I don't have to answer your calls. I'm answering the calls of the folks I need to be calling. He said, I'm looking out for my people. Kamala's like, he won't give me my political brownie points and let me leech onto this hurricane so that I can be a hero. And DeSantis is like, no, not over here. You can't.
Political gamesmanship? Can you just speak to what happened there?
He looked so irritated.
He looked so irritated.
He did. Okay, let me stop repeating myself because I just remember his face. He looked like he wanted to throw up just hearing her statements. Like, this broad, seriously.
If there's anything I can leverage to benefit my people, I'm going to do it. The fact of the matter is they put out a story saying I didn't even know she was trying to reach me, but she has no role in this process. And I've been dealing with these storms in Florida under both Trump and Biden. Neither of them ever politicized it.
No, I don't. Let's just call a spade a spade. Both of those political parties, they love politicizing natural disasters. That's a bipartisan thing a lot of times.
And in fact, all the...
But in this situation, though, I do...
support. So what she's doing is she's trying to inject herself into this because of her political campaign. So as the governor here who's leading this, I don't have time for those games. I don't care
about... He said, I don't got time for those games. I do not have time for these reindeer games, right? I am the governor of Florida, all right? I'm trying to take care of my people. You trying to get political brownie points. He's like, you better go Girl Scout somewhere else because this is not the time. This is not the place. Don't play with Florida. What'd you say, Ron?
So as the governor here, who's Florida, although I've worked well with the president, she has never called in Florida. She has never offered any support. So what she's doing is she's trying to inject herself into this because of her political campaign.
She should have injected herself in that border because now we got 20 million illegals over here.
I don't care about her campaign. Obviously, I'm not a supporter of hers, but she's not. She has no role in this process. And so I'm working with the people I need to be working with. We're leveraging the resources.
DeSantis says, don't come over to Florida with that. All right. We don't do that Democrating over here. All right. We ain't doing that Democrating over here. We trying to take care of these folks. All right. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about this. I don't like any political party politicizing things like this because at the heart of everything, people need to be helped. That is the most important thing. Nobody cares about what you're running on at this point. People need help. And so I do agree with DeSantis. It's like you're trying to insert yourself into this natural disaster so you can get your political cookies, right? And I'm not going to give them to you. I'm not going to give them to you. I'm working with the big guy, right? Corn Pop, Biden. I'm working with him. All right. The other thing that caught my attention, and, I like to be very sensitive when I talk about political, think tanks. But we got to talk about, some of our Christian brothers and sisters for a second here, especially our MAGA Christian brothers and sisters. All right. Because I think there's kind of, I think some of y'all going over into the apostasy side. Right. And you can't be that firm in your belief in a man, a fleshly man on this earth, that you will elevate that man above God. Okay. And a lot of the MAGA folks are like, well, I don't do that. Then this is not your conversation, honey. You are full in with the Lord and good for you, right? You're not putting Trump above the Lord, all right? So we're not talking to you. We're talking to some of our brothers and sisters that are borderline apostates, right? So let's hear what is this? TYT, the Young Turks. This is just fair usage. They're asking this patriotic grandma, right? This lady's jazzy as hell with her little American flag thing going. She dope as hell. She looking good. Granny not neglecting herself. That's what's up. She got her earrings on, and they don't even look like those CIA ones that Kamala be wearing. But anyways, you guys, let's listen to MAGA grandma because we got to talk. We got to get with these apostates.
Would have an uprising.
Now he asked her if Trump loses, What do you think is going to happen? Let me go back.
He were to lose again, what would that mean for the country in your estimation?
We'd have an uprising.
And this is just fair usage.
There's
And
too
I,
many
and I agree
people
with
that are
Granny.
ready to go now.
I do agree
So
with
what
Granny.
does that mean? Can you be specific?
Civil war. Civil war.
You think it'll be a civil war if Trump loses
So
again?
Granny thinks
yes,
that if
I do.
Trump loses,
I
there
know
may be a
with people that I
possibility of
talk to,
civil war.
I'm a churchgoer, and I love God more than my life. But there are things that I do for God that I don't do for anybody else. And this is one thing I know, that God needs some help here.
She said, God needs some help here. She said that God needs some help here, y'all. The Almighty, powerful. He needs some help from fleshly men. Do our Christian brothers and sisters not understand why this type of rhetoric is problematic to your faith? If you don't understand that, hey, you go on worshiping you're turning fleshly men into deities at this point. And that's very problematic for your faith. I'm just going to put it out there. You can agree or disagree with it. Statements like this tells me that you are not a
So
child of God.
what does that mean? Can you be specific?
Civil war. Civil war.
You think it'll be a civil war if Trump loses again?
Oh yes, I do. I know with people that I talk to, I'm a churchgoer, and I love God more than my life. But there are things.
Because if she went to church, I don't know which church this lady is going to, but we understand that the great war that will come upon this earth is not going to be of the flesh. It's not going to be organized by fleshly men at all, right? We will have nothing to do with it because we are going to be judged. And so it is a shame that people have been so knee deep in this political witching, because this is what I call the political cycles. They're nothing more than witchings on populations, right? And what a shame that this lady feels such a way, that she's so knee deep in it that she thinks that God needs some help. What God are you worshiping, lady? I mean, what God are you worshiping? I mean, if you're a Christian, are you telling me that the Christian God needs some help? I mean, this is not
Things that I do
good
for
rhetoric
God
for a Christian.
that I don't do for anybody else. And this is one thing I know, that God needs some help here. Actually, my first election that I'd been to was Donald Trump. And
When you say your first election you've been to, you never voted before that, or?
I voted, but I never got into it. Now, I
She's
can
into
spend
the spirit.
just all waking moments thinking what I need to do.
She said
And of course I can't.
now this, this lady look about maybe 70 years old, and she said she spends every waking moment thinking about what she should do, right? What she should do, right? She's not relying on the Most High. She's not relying on the Most High. She's worried about what she can do. So I mean, I think after this political witching is over, I do pray for my brothers and sisters who have been entrenched with this, just really deep in it. I pray for you that you kind of understand where your salvation lies, right? Because a lot of you guys seem to be thinking that your salvation lies in Donald Trump. And even though he may be the ideal political candidate, it seems like some of our brothers and sisters are borderline worshiping this man. And you got to think that that's problematic for your faith, for people to believe in these movements and these fleshly people to this degree. You got to question your faith. I mean, I've often thought that people were getting into the occultist lane with this. I really did not. I don't like the intertwining of politics and faith, right? And people don't realize that Constantine actually got his favorability because he leveraged the beliefs of people to get power. If you look at Constantine's true story, not the story written by the liars, he was a pagan. He was a pagan. And Constantine leveraged the beliefs of the people to get their favorability. So be careful putting your faith in these fleshly men. You know, that's all I'm saying to y'all is be careful with that. Pagan, not like pagan, like Pagan. Sorry, I have a lisp. 300 years after Jesus was resurrected. I'm sorry, I'm just now catching up. What's up from Turkey? I see you. See what's going on, Daniel Jones. I see you. But Constantine, he was a sun worshiper. Constantine was a pagan. Romans were pagans. And this may hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I said this in the last live stream. You won't find crosses in my house. You won't find crosses in my house because it's a carven image. It originated in Rome under that Constantine satanic hijacking of the Abrahamic faith. But, you know, people worship how you want to. I don't have any graven images because I follow the 10 Commandments. So I don't use any type of anything in my worship but the scriptures. But that is just to say that, you know, we're going to pray for our MAGA brothers and sisters that are knee deep in this witching that they have really started putting themselves and other fleshly human beings even above God. I mean, when you hear a woman says God needs some help, that means that she's not worshiping the Most High God, at least. I don't know what God this woman is worshiping, but it can't be the Most High God, because why would he need some help from her? I mean, not trying to be funny, but this lady is about 70-something years old talking about God needs some help from her. And she stays up thinking about what she can do in this MAGA movement. And she said she's voted before, but she's never been knee deep in a movement before. So now this lady, right, she doesn't understand that, you know, this sort of overt or covert worship of this MAGA movement is leading her into apostasy. And I know some of you MAGA folks have starting to see it like, boy, you guys are really worshiping my man Trump. Like, I want Trump to win, but I don't worship the guy, you know? And it seems like, you know, some people are borderline worshiping him. So just putting it on my brother and sister's radar that we do want to be mindful of how we attach ourselves to these political parties, you know, and never, ever, 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 ever forget that God never wanted mankind to have a government. You know, he never wanted the nation that he set as an example, the nation of Israel, the ancient Israelites. He didn't want them to have a king. He did not want them to have a governmental structure. They wanted that because all the other nations had governmental structures. So, you know, the failure of the ancient Israelites never, ever, ever surprises me because, you know, you kind of see how their failures kind of trickled into the world, right? If they would have just stayed the damn course, who knows how the world would have actually been. But that's just, you know, my opinion. But now we're in this, you know, mixed tree of Israelites and Gentiles. And I pray for all of us. I truly do. But anyways, what is else on my radar? Do y'all, like, don't be coming up in my thing trolling. You're Turkish? Where are you from? Istanbul? I have a really cool Turkish friend. You know, I would love to visit Turkey one day because, you know, when you think about, you know, those letters that Brother John wrote in the Revelation, right? Those congregations were in Turkey, right? You look at where all of those congregations, those 7 letters that Brother John wrote to those congregations, they were in Turkey, right? So Turkey has some big biblical, a lot of biblical significance. So big up to you, Turkey, our brothers in Turkey. All right. What's going on, Ghetto Planet? You said Ghetto Planet. We'll subscribe. You never know, man. You forgot to drop a like. Thank you so much, Infowar, and follow Infowar too. This is my lion. This is my lion because he be protecting his sisters. I love this brother. Pray. Yep, pray when you're alone. Like, this is when you said you're half Jewish. It don't matter, honey. Like, let me tell you something. You got to be in covenant. Forget about your title of your denomination. If you are not fully in covenant with the God of Abraham, you're just a title. You're just a title, right? Our faith means more than a title. When you go back and you look at what our Lord said, he wanted the ancient Israel to have, read the 10 Commandments. And if the 10 Commandments are difficult for anybody to follow, like they're very common sense, right? These things weren't hard to stay in covenant. Keep the Sabbath, keep the day of rest. Who wouldn't want to prioritize the 7th day saying, I'm just going to chill just like God did, and I'm going to keep the Sabbath, right? God's requirements are not hard. These organized religions have made them very hard. And that was Jesus's beef with the scribes and the Pharisees. He's like, you guys came up with all these man-made laws, and they don't even align with what my Father is truly telling these people. My Father is truly telling these people, don't be conniving. Don't be a user. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? Don't sleep with your neighbor's wife, right? Respect the temple that is your body. Don't worship other gods, because if you do, I'm not going to take care of you like that, right? We knew when the ancient nation of Israel was in covenant with their God because they wanted for nothing. And this is true of God's people today. They want for nothing. Are they the richest people on this planet? Absolutely, not physically, but spiritually. This is why Jesus told us to store our riches in heaven. So my stocks in heaven, my portfolio is just huge in heaven, right? Because I'm putting in my earthly work. I make sure that every day that I have God's word on my lips, that I am like my brother Apostle Paul, where he says, I became all things to all people. And when I was a kid, my elder, he was like, I was a smart ass kid growing up. Like, so I had to get like, watch your mouth, girl. But it was like, when I heard that scripture, I was like, so like, if like, would he become a prostitute so that he can get the prostitutes to the kingdom? And he's like, no, that's not what he meant. But what Paul meant is that you have to be able to get down to the people's level, right? You cannot be this holier than thou person trying to teach people the word of God and expecting for it to resonate to them. You know what I mean? You can't be that, right? And so I don't be that. I kind of follow the codes of the prophets, and I just do what they do, right? They didn't make stuff hard for folks. They didn't judge folks, right? They rebuked them demons and them evil spirited folks, but they weren't judging people, and I think really demonic people kind of do that a lot of times. And of course we all kind of run with judgment, but truly godly people, they understand that there's opportunity to help somebody to a better path. And so just judging them a lot, it's not going to do that, help that process. So listen, you guys, you said Turkish love black people. I think when you look at a lot of people's ancestry, I find that people from Africa and the Middle East ancestrally were definitely, very closely related. So for sure, Trump for Jesus. He better stop selling them Bibles with them constitutions in there. He made me mad with that. Now you can't just be hustling like that, Trump. You know, you too rich to be doing stuff like that, Trump. You're on a good path. Don't screw it up. But did you guys hear one thing Ron DeSantis said? And this kind of like, I was like, wow, I guess Biden is alive because he recently came out about the hurricane stuff. But Joe Biden has been so off my radar, I forgot about him. Let's see. But keep our prayers up for our brothers and sisters in Florida, please. I mean, especially in that retirement community. Because again, these people are on a fixed income. It's a mobile home community. And so again, these people are going to have such a hard time with insurance. A lot of these people are not going to recover. They're not going to recover. It's just, they're not. So again, we need the US government pumping the brakes on these migrants, and we need funds directed to our people, not the human liabilities that the Biden administration has opened up this country to so that they can get a voter base. Like the voter base that they're bringing in, do they even speak English? Do these, like, a lot of these people can't even speak English. And it's like, how are you even filling out a ballot? Like, it's crazy because there are states, don't let the Democrats lie to you. There are states who are trying to get IDs, legal type of stuff, so that they can freak these people into the process. I really do believe that. Because 2 years ago, I'm like shopping at Myers, and there's this little action-packed group that was like in the Myers parking lot. They had their little boards trying to petitions and stuff. And they wanted me to sign off on allowing illegal immigrants to get state IDs so that they could work. And I'm like, why would I do that? Like, they're illegal. Like, illegal. Okay? That means that they did not go through the proper channels to get into this country. So why would I sign a petition enabling human liabilities? That's what anybody who illegally enters anything are. Their liabilities. They did not have a plan to come. So they don't have a plan to stay outside of ride on American taxpayers' money in the welfare system. These people, we just inherited 20 million welfare recipients. 20 million welfare recipients. Think about that, because that's what they are. They ain't coming here with nothing. These ain't kings. These aren't people coming bringing big businesses to America. These are human liabilities. That's what they are. On so many different levels. Yeah, I mean, invaders. And you know what happened to Western Rome when they allowed those invaders to come in? It fell first. And I swear America is Rome 2.0. America is Rome 2.0. We are falling just like them. I mean, when you think about Rome, right, there's a couple of things going on with Rome that was just an ingredient for Rome's collapse. Number one, they had a lot of infighting, lots of infighting in the Roman Empire. A lot of infighting, a lot of backstabbing. If you look at how a lot of the successions of power went, you had a lot of people killing other folks, knocking folks off. It was a lot of crazy stuff. Matter of fact, the Trump assassinations reminded me of the just political effery of the Roman Empire, because they was trying to knock people off. Go look back at the history of Rome, the succession of power. It's like, this is 2.0 to me. Like, the first thing I thought about when Trump, not once, they said there was a third attempt. Was there a third attempt on Trump and a third assassination attempt? I know there was two of them, but this stuff is like Rome. And then you got the open border where they let all those barbarians in, right? And just basically, these people had zero loyalty to Rome. They had zero loyalty to Rome. And what happened? They just basically infiltrated the empire, and the Western Empire collapsed. You can't make this stuff up. History, is for learning. It is not for repeating. And we are repeating history time and time again in so many colorful ways, And you can actually see the truth of history by how modern things play out, because there is nothing new under the sun, baby. There is nothing new under the sun. Anybody's granny used to say that to them. There ain't nothing new under the sun. That's what my granny used to say to me, right? You start looking at the patterns of things, the cycles of these things, you start seeing nothing new under the sun. Well, it's interesting. Rome, I would say the grandeur of the empire that definitely collapsed, right? But I would say that instead of using Rome fell. I would say that Rome fragmented, right? It fragmented out. And when we see the fragments of Rome, this is where we see, all of the, the Franks or France rise, you get like the Lombards, you see all of these different little families of power sort of rising, right? And they pretty much kind of represented the British World Empire. Like it was pretty much that. But you guys keep yourself safe. Keep your prayers up for your brothers and sisters in Florida. Dame Dash, I talked about Dame Dash a couple of days ago. Check out his new network if you're not following his channel, the American New Network. He's talking about Jay-Z and Jaguar Wright in one of those interviews. And I always like to hear Dame Dash's perspective on things, because I just always felt like Dame Dash was like, he was pretty cool in the industry. I never really heard anything negative about Dame Dash, but it seems like he was one of those smart ones who's like, I don't need to be filthy rich in this industry. I'll take what I can get, but what I'm not going to be is owned. And I'm not going to let these people leverage me. And so he's been keeping his hair. He's not as rich and wealthy as Jay-Z and Diddy, but at least he got his respect. At least he got his respect. I feel like Jay-Z and Diddy, that's artificial respect to me. And the more you learn about these people, it just seems like the respect that we could have had for them, it just seemed like it's feeling more and more artificial. Like these people were artificially propped, and now we see the demons that they are. Not saying about Jay-Z, he's still protected. So we will see. We will see. Jay and Beyonce, they are not going against the grain. Diddy went against the grain. So that's why we see Diddy falling. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this conversation. My brothers and sisters, keep your prayers up, right? But you may be passionate about a political candidate, right? But don't let your passion for a candidate to win to overshadow, your God, right? And what he can do for you and what he will do for you, right? And I just feel like anybody running on the rhetoric that we need Trump and God needs a little help, you may need a little help with your faith, right? And we do encourage you to get back in that Bible. Get back into that Bible, because Jesus is king, and he's leading the army, not Trump. All right? Jesus, Yahusha, is king. He's leading the army. No fleshly men. No fleshly men. So don't ever put a fleshly man before your Lord. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'm about to get me some white wine. I'm about to light some incense. I'm about to get in the tub, and I'm about to just drown my sorrows for 20 minutes and take my ass to bed. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.